Hello, beautiful ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are. It's another day with another dollar. Here we are, it's underscore Gintu, back again to the roots of today. It's one-on-one live coverage. You're going to be coming from Murimi village. And today is another day also, and I appreciate the Almighty God. So I always have to tally and see how my projects are overgoing and also how things are ever coming out. And a little bit of a quick review. I've heard about the conduct yesterday attacked so many people, and it was just whenever you know things gonna be getting crooked here and there, you're gonna be stopping you and asking you, what are you doing? Because Gintu is not doing it. Let me say as a fact, when you see Gintu standing still to make sure that other people are going to be getting their freedom and rights in this kind of the village. Because when I've ceased a little and talk about I cannot continue this kind of the pass mark, they always come out and talk about, oh, you see Gintu now is a very good man, he's not doing A, B, C, D. And also you, we're going to be doing this and then this. You saw what happened to Gintu, or we're going to be getting to the court also. Do you have money to be like Gintu and much more? What I can say is, number one, let nobody intellectualize or come out intellectually and start behaving with a liquid intelligence and start talking about, oh, because of this, because of Gintu, because of Gintu. Let them understand, like nobody can ever be like me, because I understand my own probability of becoming a human nature in this kind of the area and this kind of the continent. Because when God said Gintu should be available in that kind of the village, had a purpose. Like there's no much of osmoronic people coming to osmoron our own attitude and aptitude about, oh, you know, it could be this way. I saw so many young boys here. They are becoming stupid also, because if it comes to the real clarity, like they have seen Gintu, it cannot be contemplated or contemplated in a way like you have to come and start talking about Gintu in this way, in this way. I cannot humilize. You can never humilize me and come again and talk about how we're going to be. If I find you, it will be a crackatoo of the day, because we have to do whatever is necessary. Here in Africa, we don't have, like sometimes people say about, oh, I'm going to be looking for the police officers where they are, I'm going to be looking for the DCI where they are. We deal with you pertinently. I had one of the people, gentlemen here and there, complaining about, oh, Gintu, oh no, talking tomorrow like, oh, you know, if I could be me in that kind of the village and I have money. So you are watching the video, not having the money, but you are assuming to have money. Like, oh, I could have dealt with Gintu and ABCD. Try them to try it, because nobody is here to humiliate anyone, and nobody knows what Gintu have, and nobody knows what everybody has. And I'm not the person to expose everything. Some of the things I can bring them to the platform 3%, but whenever it gets to 97%, you'll never know. I always operate on my own, and it's only God knows how I operate. Other people, you understand, some people think about, oh, you're going to be coming to my life. I heard so many people talking about, oh, Gintu, the people you're bringing closer to you, they're the people who are just interlocking and telling out some of the lies, or complicating some of the statements out, or talking about you in a bad way, or talking about, oh, they know everything because you have stayed with them. Whenever you come and stay to my home, you don't operate. You are not my brain. Even if they talk about, oh, they have seen the verbal things or some reactions or the action thing, they can only complicate about the reaction things, but they cannot know what I'm thinking and what I'm going to be thinking. Today you might come also and talk about, oh, how it's going to be like, oh, Gintu, it might be this way, Gintu has to go this way. You'll never understand who I am and how I operate, because I came to realize it, and I always sit alone and settle my mind very closely, and I understand like how this person is behaving. I know every character. I know every character of every individual. As far as I met with you once, nothing you can ever challenge me with, because that is my biggest intelligence that I have into my brain. And when I sit down alone and I relax, I start reviewing in a small synopsis about what has happened through this and this and this. My mind comes to realize like there's something that I did wrong, and I have to perfect it as much as possible. That's why you can see this kind of the small boys who are just running east, west and south, they are talking about, oh, the conduct, oh, the whatever, Mara here and there, Devi, whatever. I'm not interested, because when I settle down and I see they are ever being interpreted like they are humiliated, and they They like to be humiliated. And that is not my character of humiliation. That will never be. Because I understand myself and I know who I am. Because, let me tell you a short story here. Because you have to say as a fact how it is and how it should be. One thing that is giving me a bit of a traumatized reaction is whereby this kind of the gentlemen, they are ever behaving like they don't understand what is there. And I asked one day, and it's a very simple question I asked, like, you are ever complicating and talking about, oh, this kind of the person has humiliated you. Have you ever taken the action or legal action towards this kind of the individual who is making this kind of the life to be complicated, or is throwing you into bars, or throwing you into behind bars, or throwing you into an imbroglio? Have you ever tried to look upon it and talk about to go to the police officer, whoever will be, and even if there is much of the handouts, let it not be like every kind of the person you think about you're gonna be handouted. And there are some of the people who they might be placed into the pocket of some individual, because in Africa you have to understand everybody has a stomach, because here we are talking about the Ministry of Financial stomach, and that is not the relevant thing that we have to fear. And some of the people start complicating and talking about, oh, you know, because of this kind of the person gonna be having money, and you start talking about how it's gonna be. How do you understand you? So if you are starting to talk about this kind of the person has money, already you have surrendered. And that is the weakest point, that this kind of the people have been demolished, and also they are going to be having a problem to this kind of the entire village they are living. Because I'm not yet to invest in this kind of the village, because things are becoming too much. I'm now going to invest in my other village to make sure that other things are going to be coming out. Also, what I've just seen forward is, if Maro and Dave Jr. they can develop this kind of the village, and this village could get a light, like they have this kind of the 2-3 things ABCD, I have to invest in my village also to bring the light that this kind of the people are bringing here. And to that kind of the eclop, I can come to conclude, like, we have to strengthen our points and understand, are we able to invest in another area like how they are investing? Because when a person is investing into a polasso, I don't know, whatever it will be, and they want to talk about, oh, want to be breeding, in breeding, out of breeding, off breeding, and break breeding, it is their own way of making sure they're going to extend their own assets in one per individual to make sure that one can get this at this. And what are we thinking about? We are thinking about, oh, this kind of the person is investing, oh, we shall see this kind of the horses going to be running from east, west, and south here. What are we going to be doing? We have to understand what are we going to be doing at each kind of the eclop, because each kind of the time we have to understand this kind of the person is investing. What about me? Am I investing, or I'm laughing about the investor? And if I'm laughing about the investor who is investing at the same time, and I'm laughing about, oh, due to this, we have some of the similarities that they go hand in hand. If you are a risk taker, you are an investor. If you are talking about you don't like to see some of the things in a loss, you can never invest, and you can never be an investor, and you can never be rich in such kind of a module, like you don't want to see some of the things lost. Like, how many times have I ever complicated and talking about, oh, Gintu, as there's a time I came here and I purchased a breed which was not growing in terms of the fish farm. And if I could talk about, oh, because of this and this, and how am I going to get some of the capital again to start the reinvestment, and what could I do? I could have forced myself out of the industry, and I could have left this kind of the zone clearly with nothing. And that's why I say what I'm going to be doing is to make sure that let me not have that kind of a character of a chameleon. Like, I have to be here and I change, I be here, I change. Let me be green, let me be green. If I want to be yellow, let me be yellow. Like, I have lost, I have lost. Let it be like I have lost. Whoever will be laughing, they don't know how the investment is. How many people have been investing and things going to be dying? Yes, I understand. Our gentleman Maro there is just relaxing and talking about, oh, I'm going to be this and that, this. Some of the horses have died, some of the workers have been living, and is there to survive. What is there of a man is to do what? To survive. That is the correct value of us to move forward. But to the eclipse of the moment, this kind of the gentlemen who are just talking about, oh, you know, I've met with the conduct, is just forcing me, is just threatening me. What they have to do is they understand where the police officers are, and they understand the officers of injustice are, to make sure they're going to be reporting the matters. If they cannot report, I am not integral to be in such kind of the manifesto manifestation which doesn't have a clue value of when we will win. Because here we are competing about the dwarfs. And there's no taller dwarf, there's no shorter dwarf. We are all dwarf, and we have to talk about this how we are. And we should be brave enough to make sure that if you want to be talking about, yes, if you have the person who is always the last in the class, and we have the top and the bottom. Always you are at the bottom. And always, and you are laughing about, oh, you become a second last. And you're talking about, oh, you know, I hit you with 2 points and you are the second last. And if you are having an E and you talk about, yes, I was having an E over the last bottom. And you're talking about, oh, even if the first person got an E, but is the first person to be ranked at that kind of the juncture, you come and talk about you are the first person to this kind of an A club. And you talk about, oh, this kind of the platform I was number one with an E. It will be the stupidest thing ever possible in this kind of the village. What is there is number one. They understand, because I told the Conrad one day and I told him the fact, like, I don't like the conjecture as the way they want to mistreat us and the way they want to talk to us in a way like we are irrelevant. Like we don't possess any kind of the capitation. We don't have any kind of the relevant revenue that we can even raise to this kind of the Kenya. You understand, so many people, like the content is checking much of the people like, oh, this kind of the village, it might be like, oh, these people, they don't have anything in this kind of the village. Like you cannot even afford to be a revenue in Kenya. Even if you are boiled, you cannot even cook properly, and it will just be cooked for decades and years before you could just be soft and people could eat you. A bit, how long do you want to possess such kind of the intact position? We have to asmoronize ourselves, and we understand what has to come out critically and essentially. Like this is what we want to do at this expectation, at the other expectation, to make sure that things are going to be coming out clearly. And that is the effect of the village. That's very meticulous when you come to that kind of the juncture. But I was not feeling better when I saw some of the gentlemen bringing me some of the issues, talking about, oh, Gintu, you know what? Oh, I don't know what the contact, or I don't know, whatever found us. Oh, we had to put him into an envelope and talk about, we don't want to do this, do this. And again, whenever I asked about, okay, what did it happen? You talk about, oh, you know, the contact started talking about this way, they started talking about the other way around. And at the end of the moment, there's nothing, no legal action. I don't now apprehend to understand this kind of the gentleman, because we are now talking too much. If it is time for the action, even some of the people are becoming so crazy with us. They're talking about, oh, Gintu, if it comes like this kind of the people are doing this kind of the things to you, why couldn't you report this kind of the matters? It's only right now I'm going to be filing some of the cases, and it's going to be coming because I'm still on it, because I will not file a case in here Migori or talk about Kehancha Lokot. I'm going to be making sure I'm going to be filing a case maybe in Busia, Bungoma, Nairobi, Mombasa, to make sure that some of the people are going to be transferring, or they have to travel from here to Mombasa for the case. Because if it comes to that kind of demand, I have to handle it the way it comes. Because some of the issues here, I want to put, if it gets very meticulous, because I was not paid my full money and is complaining about we were volunteers, and I want to see the volunteering page, because we have the videos showing that, oh, I'm going to be giving you a work and I want you to work for me and make sure that things are going to be coming out. At the effective matter, somebody comes out and talk about, I have dismissed you with no notice, and it's a video of disgrace. What does it mean? We have to auction this man. Keep quiet. Shh. The auction is coming. If there's no 3-point-something million, we cannot bear with the circumstances, and we have to auction. I don't want assets that depreciate like us. I need something that appreciates. And this is an elite system. And I've said it, it's gonna be coming, because they understand. Whenever I relax a bit and I don't talk about how the village postquams and okumayas are ever ongoing, some of the people start behaving awkwardly, and they start talking about, oh, you have seen Gintu is now quiet. They think about whenever you see a lion is reigned for, you think about now it can even eat grass, and it has forgotten how to chew some bones and to be a carnivore at that kind of the moment. So we have to understand how the things are going to be popping out, and also to be constituted with an immediate effect. So to the little thing that we're going to be handling this kind of the matter is to say as a fact, Let everybody start being dependent. And let everybody start appreciating whatever you have. If you have any problem with the conduct, can you sort it out? If it's Ginto, I'm having it. I have to deal with them repetantly because I don't fear anyone. I have to say it as it is. Back to the fish farm. Today, I've arrived here and I gave some boys a little bit of the work to do, and they were under my payroll to make sure that they're going to be doing some of the work here. I've terminated their contract due to ineffectiveness, and I said it as a fact. I always understand, like, when you are investing, you have to understand who is specific to that kind of the moment. It's my brother who I took in school this week on Monday, and is now oriented to a Form 1 in Hispania, where I was today. And this kind of the little boy was the one who was managing my ponds here. So I have been told, like, there are some of the people are coming, like they're going to be slashing, and I've come to see where the slashing is occurring, and there's nothing like a slashing has been done into this kind of an area like cleaners of the highest order. So I have to terminate the contract because this kind of the gentlemen are here to take from me and not to invest with me, because when I show you what to do, they think about, oh, it's gonna be like, okay, the fish are here. This is the easiest thing to steal in this kind of the world, and it's something that you can go and buy the bait and much more. It's only if I will put here some of the CCTV, which going to be coming, because I'm going to be investing in daily kettles and also goats to make sure that I'm going to be a bigger supplier to make sure that things are going to be coming. I know that so many people are talking about, oh, Ginto, don't pronounce whatever is going to be coming, because you have to say whenever it comes, let nobody start talking about, oh, Ginto, you scammed this, you scammed this, because people have that kind of the tendency of whenever they think like, oh, you know, one thing that I ever recovered and I saw, and to this kind of the village and our supporters mostly coming from another party, they might come with disgracing comments, and this kind of the people, they hate you at that kind of the effective matter, because not everybody likes you. When I say about I'm going to be investing in something, some of the people will ever come and say, oh, Ginto, you know, this kind of the money is the money that, oh, it was whatever will come this way. A bit they don't want to see some other people exposing and coming out, because some of the people think about, oh, you know, you should pronounce like, oh, this is the actual person who is supporting Ginto, and this the person has gone bankrupt, this is the person who is not having anything. A bit, I'm sorry, because we are not onto that chapter again. We have to reframe, we have to go forward, we have to understand what exactly has to come out clearly from each portfolio, and that is my clarity about it, and that is the best thing that we have to do into this kind of the village. Because if we are looking forward and talk about, oh, because Ginto has a fish farm, let's calculate how much money is earning onto the YouTube. I had some of the people saying until they ever showed to the police officers and they told them, like, oh, you can even see what I'm earning. We are not interested with what you are earning. That's absolutely a secret, because if you're showing it what you're earning and tomorrow it comes like you have been hit, like as a Ferrari, somebody has taken some of the money, you start talking about somebody kidnapped me and somebody hit me and took my money. Again, you talk about, oh, I showed some people my bank balance, and you start talking about the only option is Ginto, because of the character, because of how he is, because of the race, because of how Ginto is behaving. That will be the only option that everybody rang, oh, you saw the Ginto was there, go to Ginto direct. Because of what? I have my own stand of talking about this is how it is, and the liberation is there. If there's no liberation for this kind of the boys who are living to this kind of the village, because they are selling, we can never depend to this kind of the boys, as I say, as a fact. And I will never trust this kind of the people who are coming from this kind of the village, ever in my history. Ever in my history. Because the same people, you'll talk to them today, tomorrow they will turn. Even if things was in a secret, because who doesn't have a secret? Who doesn't have a secret? You have secrets that if they come out, there will be something else. But you don't want them to come out. And there are some of the people who think about, oh, you will just talk about, oh, we have agreed today. But if you form a formulation And some of the times that you're going to be coming to this kind of an eclipse, I've seen it. I've been betrayed live, but I don't do some of the lives talking about to go and this, do whatever and whatever. I say it as a fact, you are the one who is messing with this one. And I tell you, I'm not a man of cornering. I tell you and I face you one-on-one. Let it be whatever it will be. Because this life, even if I'm not available, you will live. If you are not available, I will leave. There's no way I can come out and talk about, oh, because of you, I have to go with you because the death is there and you have died, then I have to die with you. If it could be that way, I could have followed my father. Why? My father used to be there, and so many people used to talk about, oh, if your father is not available, he was connecting our family in a way that is so meticulous. But what I see from this kind of an area, and I will talk about it, some of the people are ever messed up. Why am I saying about they are messed up? Here, this kind of the village is of drama. And if you don't act drama, you are doomed. And if you are not in a drama, you are doomed too. Because people want to watch drama. They want to see things happening perpendicularly per unit time. And if it's not like that, some of the people will tend to ask and osmoron and start imitating your own cospam of dignity. To the real protagonical way of understanding some of the things how they're going to be coming clearly, chapter per chapter. Let us not start becoming dismissed in our own ways. Like this kind of the village, when you talk about, please, can we do this at this perspection? Some people can come out and talk about, oh, Gintu told me this, and it was a secret at this kind of the corner level. But if we are not straightforward, like you can think, rethink, and out the other person is thinking as you are thinking, and start talking about, oh, this is how the complication is, that's how this is going to be. It will not be a bufferment to me. The clarity is number one. We rejoice with what God has given us. And if we are not clear, and we are not very sure, this village is at a mess. Why am I saying so? This village is lacking wives, number one. This village is lacking husbands, number two. And I don't know what is really the perspection of marriage. And mostly the people have overtaken. And YouTubers can never even think about it. Like, what are we doing as YouTubers? Are we really framing what is to come or what is oncoming? So many people have chased wives. So many people are not having wives. Some of them I don't have husbands. To the clarity, who is there to rescue each and who is to rescue who? So both of us, we are dwarfs. There's no bigger dwarf. It's only the surrounding of that dwarf can make that dwarf to be bigger or smaller, which is thinner. And to that eclipse, that's why you can say some of the YouTubers, they have found a very good space for them to eat with a spade. Some of them are eating with spoons that are made for children. Even if you are a developed person and still you are eating with a children's spoon, still you are a dwarf. Even if you are eating with a spade, you are a dwarf. It's only the environment which is surrounding you. And that's what I want people to understand. Everybody in this village is acting towards the donation. The donations are active in this village pasmonsously. It's making this village to grow, which is the best alternative of the growth. And also, if one thing is bringing a problem, why is it like we cannot come together as YouTubers and join and make it happen? Benefits? Is it benefit of the authorities? I don't understand. Because it's of another day, of another dollar, we have to say how it is. As far as you can earn a living, a small thing, or a small money of a day, you are better than to be left at the upper stage and left with nothing. It will be awkward. It will be awkward. That's a fact. But my proposal, if we are not much keen and keener, we are falling apart. As I see, yes, we are passing. People knows Gintu. People knows who. They know the impact. They know how you are capable of doing it. And they know everything. But now, the question is, are we able to sustain the sustainabilities of each individual person who is unto this kind of the village, who needs a need, or who is in need? Are we able? Because everybody is crying, I want to do this, I want to be this, I want to do this, I want to be this. Are we able to do the intellectual things to sustain the village, to be an intact village? Are we able? Or everybody is looking for the opportunity for his home to eat? You know, the best thing that I've ever done, and whenever I'm passing ever, and I say as a fact, I passed yesterday but one. I went to a funeral that was there at Magabo's position, the Jigas family. When I reached there, I found so many people looking at me. And I went and I seated down with this kind of the lady. And we were talking very gently because nobody wanted to reach her closer. Because they have a history of talking about this woman is having an illness or is mentally challenged or is insane. That's their mentality, not my proposal. But when I went and I sat down with her at the funeral there, on the road, people started mimicking from one position to another. Mimics. They were coming from each level. And I was asking myself, why are they looking at me in a weird way? Like, this person, does this person recognize, like, they never expected somebody could come and sit with her? I don't have a fearing, compassionate blood. I don't have a liquid intelligence whenever it comes to me. Because I was about to go to do the intelligence work through the police interface and much more. But it's a little bit of smaller things that messed because of some finance, because Kenya is corrupt. I could be somebody very bigger in this kind of the nation, because it's a bit of the handouts, money luring, and corruption. The corruption I'm talking about is not the bigger one that you think about gonna be the bigger corruption, no. It's a bit of the looting of the public assets or the public funds from one position to another. A bit becoming a scary thing unto this kind of the republic in terms of the revenue collection and the interludes of making it happen. A bit traumatized. But when we look keenly at each kind of the perspective, I went to the police and checked about the recruitment. Then I got to be selected. Then when it reached at a place of giving out money, now I was having nothing. Then I was discriminated and I was thrown out because of a little bit of funds that I could not pose at that moment. Because my father said, go and try. If they take you, they will take you. If they don't like, at that moment, I called every irrelevant person who was there, who could talk about, could you have this money, as I could get to this kind of, because in Kenya, there's no one will ever come to lie to you. Like, you can possess a job, which is a very good paying job. Even if you want to be getting to America, whatever you will be, and get through the agencies, you'll get scammed. You'll get, that is something that has been there. And Kenya is amongst the countries, and I'm not selling the bad reputation about my country, but it has a bad reputation in terms of the corruption. And how we're going to be surviving that kind of the corruption? Still unto the village it exists. and to stop the corruption, I don't think it's possible. It's not possible. Looting, it's not possible that you can stop it. Aye. Who lied to you? Because let me tell you a little bit of a story. When it comes to this envelope of talking about who are the selected people to the government to be the agencies, to be the agents, to be ambassadors, to be politicians, and to be a politician in Kenya, you should have passed through corruption for the people to know you. Doesn't know that one. Is this a new thing that I'm talking about here? I think in your nations always they are there. For you to become a known politician in the countries, more so the third world countries, he should have been convicted of corruption. And he is now known automatically from that section till date. And that is what is passing, which is making us like we are electing thieves to our cabinet. We are electing thieves to be members of the assembly. And this kind of the thieves, as I will say it, as a fact today. Look at how many people who never went to the university. And I want the people who are listening to me keenly to understand this kind of the chapter. Look at how many people went to the universities. Have you ever seen them having Prado TX, having Mercedes Benzes, having Mercedes, whatever, GTCX, whatever? Have you ever seen them having bigger machines like vehicles, including choppers, whatever? They are D+, D-, and E's, and C+, and C's. The people who never went to the university are the ones who are now progressing with the life very meticulous. But we can never summarize unto that one. People think about it's a joke in Kenya. And a person who has a very lowest talk about a grade from the high school, never even, if they went to fight, it's only in a college, and they started doing their own things for them to be somebody in this kind of the world. And that is the only assumption we can come clearly and verify to this kind of the spot. We Buddha, yekiore, okandigiga gara rerunyori nguchore. So to the clarity of the matter, I want to tell people as a fact what is there and what is not there. Number one, to be a politician in Kenya, you should be of a high convicted person and well known with the public. You have the eyes, have it. If not, and these are the people who they know, they are so corrupt. They have done the corruption live, one-on-one. But at the end of the matter, you'll come and talk about this, the only person who can make it. Because these are the same people. They might be corrupt, but they can give to the society. But if you are not corrupt and you cannot give to the society, who likes you now? I think somebody can get what I'm talking about at that kind of the juncture. At the end of the moment, we have to be we shall be we, and we have to be we. That is what is always available. And under this manifestation of tackling some of the issues one-on-one, I came to realize one thing in this kind of the village. Like, you can never move forward if the position it has been handled has never broke out to be the talkative thing outside here once upon a time. And also, you can only see where the flow of water is flowing to, and you can flow with that water easily to the lower side of the river. That's how it is. Look for the best alternative to handle the matters, how they come. If not that way, you lack it. But also when you come to the really way of checking how the things are unto the village, it's the same application which is doing that kind of the work up to now. People see where the flow of water is flowing to, and they follow that channel. But now, I wanted to say something here. And something is this. Let us not start pointing fingers to each individual by each time because of something that you know this can do it or the other one can do it. There's so many people who are so hectful whenever it comes to, whenever they hear about, oh, this person has done this. I saw it. All the YouTubers we might be meeting and talking, and to the camera, you see the character at the camera is the same character of that person. Even if you meet and talk, it doesn't pose any kind of the impact to the surrounding. And I'll tell you that. I saw so many characters when I started growing as a YouTuber, and I saw how people were acting like weirdly. Like you start where you are very holy. Whenever it comes now, you start growing. You put the chest, the hips are tightened. The porcupines are porcupine. The hormonological imbalance is balancing. You feel like now things are gonna be very, very awesome and very automatic. And they start now behaving normal and literally. And we start complaining about, oh, it could be this way, it could be that way. No. And that's why you see now the real characters of each individual. Because when we set the record clear, we can come to Tanganize and say, if we don't come together as a village, we are the people who are making the village to be broken. And from that kind of the brokenness that I'm talking about here, is the same effect that some of the bigger birds, they supposed to have bigger deals than the smaller birds. Like once upon a time, you know, my father was ever telling me a story, read about, there was a novel that was called Shamba la Wanyama, the animal garden, or the garden of animals. He was telling me it's only the bigger animals will have their rights and freedoms, but the smaller animals, they don't have rights and freedoms. It was never talking about the people, it was not talking about the animals. And it was talking about all the animals who were ever together. All the animals, they were living together. But when they started knowing like there are animals which can do this work and the other ones can never do this, they started now behaving like we have to select according to the body, which is now called cloning. They started cloning like it's only this or metamorphosis. If you read about the science of the current science, and I think that's the only subject which is clear, and I think it's the only science, if they remove the Greek words, I think the only science that we can say it's a science of reality. We have something called the metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is the change of from one situation you are, or of an animal which is maybe a tick, or a salamander, or a snail, or a butterfly, from one state to another state of development. That's what we call metamorphosis. And if a person has such kind of a character, if we are not stuck like this is the YouTube we are collected unto, and we not start behaving like we should be posing something different of having a metamorphosic or metamorphic movement or metamorphic action will be stuck at the same position. Why am I saying so? For us to have the stupidity thing that we are acting unto the village, to change to a braver thing that somebody can see and say, yes, you have done it meticulously. Oh my living God. It will be something else irrelevant also. And we are stuck at the same position. And now even the animals, they know they can never stay in one position, because they said one day, even a good dancer knows that very good time to leave the stage. So even a good dancer, and they don't understand the real time to get out of the stage, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to do? Oh. Even I like about dogs, even they have a high IQ than even human beings. Sometimes when I sit down, like I'm alone and this kind of an area, I'm alone. I sit down and I start thinking, is even a dog has a very big high IQ than even human beings. Because the bigger dogs dominate. The bigger dogs are the ones that are only cucumberizing. They say, oh, the smaller ones, they run like safari rally. They remain there to do the necessary work and reproduce. And reproduction is there to take the course. And to the real area, the dogs, they have a character. And as that kind of the character that they're going to be portraying, like this is the only person who can dominate. When I say, yeah, police, you run like a safari ride. That's what is happening to the village boys here. When I say, CID, people run like something else. When I say, I'll refuse $1 million to sue you, you run like safari rally. Whenever they roar, you think about something that it's very easy to do. And you find our village boys here running from one place, even migrating the section, including going to Nairobi for assumptions of days that you cannot even entail, like who is taking care of it, and start talking about, oh, please, please, ABCD, a bit a problem. And that's the denominacy that is there unto the village. The bigger birds or the bigger animals have a bigger privilege than the smaller ones. Or some animals have a bigger privilege than some animals. But all of them are... If we cannot get what Gintu is talking about, maybe I might be talking in parables. But the character which is there unto the village. You will be told one day, one time, like, oh, you know, this village, it could be this way because of this, or it could be this way because I acted to be part of it to be this way. And you know, I am the one who allowed this person to come out to this kind of the YouTube platform to help you. And I was managed the platform to make it. Because one day the conduct was ever telling me, oh, Gintu, you know what? Gintu Tata, you know, that YouTube, whenever Maro came, he told me, Dad, what I'm receiving in the YouTube, I want also my village people to receive it. Na nikamuuliza, uko na uhakika? I asked him, are you really sure about it? Yule mtoto Marwa aliniambia kitu ambayo sitawahi sahau kabisa, Tata Gintu. Anyway, let me forget about that. But I know one day you will come to know. So the effect is, I asked him also. Yes, he came with a good platform to help the village understand themselves and know what is very meticulous at which position and at which level. But again, we are falling into the tricky whereby we cannot again come out and express ourselves, because this kind of the YouTube was brought with one person who is a mentor. And when I say a mentor, I said that kind of the name and to the OCS and also the OCS of Isibania. He said, for the first time I'm hearing one of the YouTuber, you specifically, saying Maro is a mentor. Much of the people, including his team, they don't say that. They say he's my boss. No, he's just a mentor. He doesn't own anything to the YouTube. And I'm not talking about bad about anybody. Talking no bad. But you'll hear to this kind of the video some of the people complicating about, oh, it will be this way, it will be this way. But my real concern is towards the village boys. I know they might be wondering about how does Gintu operate and what is really, how is does Gintu make things come out and how does he operate? It's something which it creates me whenever you throw some of the stones to Gintu. They harden me. As I say, it's because of bearing some fruits. That's why this kind of the stones are coming to me like safari rare. Because for the success also, I know. My father used to say, there's no success that comes in a silver platter. You have to work for it, and working for it is, maybe you will be jailed. Maybe you will be done whatever. Police are running with you. And one day, one time, it will come to an end. And it came to an end. And everybody knows to play their own role and their part. In that way, that's why I started this video as I said. I met with boys talking about they were attacked and the conduct was ever telling them, like, they come and learn from me. And I asked about what does he talk or what does he mean? You learn from me. What does he see from me? The conduct himself is admitting himself and says, I'm a straightforward person. When I say it is this way, it is that way. And I don't complicate things. When it is straight, it has to go straight. And that's how I am. And they asked, and the conduct told them individually, they were a group of people. Your days are numbered. And it will be so weird when it will reach to a different or a certain corner, you will not get out of it. Now my concern is, what does the conduct need to the platform? He is not onto the platform. But he's trying to complicate some of the things to the platform. Have we ever called our fathers to go and attack this kind of the gentlemen from the other side? We have not. But why does this kind of the gentleman run to their father and tell the father, and whenever things are going to be getting worse, they talk about, oh, their father is being abused and whatever, their mother is being abused, A, B, C, D. A bit a crazy thing when it comes to the real thing of thinking as a man. Let us not behave like puppets who we don't understand the real criteria, the real habitual matter for us to understand the real portfolio of it. Guys, it's a one-on-one talk between me and you. For the people supporting Gintu, they understand what I mean. Because it has not been easy. I've seen so many people, you know, everybody has his own pathway. And they understand. To this kind of the January, it has been so crazy. Why am I saying it has been so crazy? People are finding it very hard to come out exclusively, administer themselves, and also the views have gone low. We know the money in terms of the CPM of the country is very low also. So everybody is talking about what am I going to do to improve my status. Right now the economy is very harsh. The economy is very bad. When I can just even say, okay, getting even $100 at this kind of the moment, everybody will talk about, oh, how it's gonna be, because the life is not complicated only here. Trump is trumping there. Somebody there is somebodying there. We here as Kenyans, we are Kenyanizing here. The economy is harsh. Everybody is traversing from becoming who he was and traverse to another section, which I call metamorphosis. And that's the best way for us to react and act responsibly. Let us not humiliate each other. start working as a team. And to work as a team is to achieve the best. If there is no achievement of the best, we are lacking it. And that is the thing which is there to our ecosystem. And I will not lie to anyone, as I will say as a fact. The life has no balance. If we are not clear and we are not authentic enough, we will lose it. And that is it. Let us think about whatever we're going to be doing at each individual time. Be tuned. Back to you in a short while. Another day with another dollar. Back again to this kind of an eclipse, and we're going to be making sure that we're going to be telling the Jiggers family what is getting on to this kind of the position. And it's just an update because the toilet is looking awesome, and things are going to be changing a bit because I understand how people are going to be commenting and talking about, oh, Gintu, this should be that way, this should be that way. And we talked about we're going to be changing one of the doors to be in another position, in a way like it should be different. This kind of the door here, it should be different a bit, should be placed to this kind of the edge, so she will just be open through this kind of an area. As you can see, this one is opening to the upper section. Also, this one should be opening to the upper section also. So it's now opening to the downer area, but we don't want it to be in such kind of a way. So it should be open through. So it's only changing some of the hinges there to make sure that things gonna be coming out more fantastic here. So a bit it is remaining with a little bit of it, a little bit of here. The rain rained too much that day, and they had to stop the work, and I know they're gonna be coming back. The person will come to put the tiles, will finish this kind of the section, and also this section, and a smaller piece here, as it's only this kind of the position, because also you can see they placed here some of the timbers to make sure we're gonna be blocking the rain not to rain on the plaster that was here. And it rained the day of the burial ceremony, and some of the people ever commented and talked about it has succeededly taken that kind of the soul of that kind of the gentleman who died at that kind of the previous day. And that is what say to the holiness, we have to respect it. At this kind of the moment is an update that's going to be coming today as a bit of it, to make sure that people are going to be understanding what we're going to be popping out each kind of the individual day, as to assemble ourselves and understand what we're going to be cooking for, and also what we're going to be doing at each kind of the following moment. As I said the other day, we're going to be coming back to the roofing stage of it, and it's in the roofing stage that it has reached. So what we are looking for is to make sure that things are going to be changing. And when I come out to frame how it is, I was saying a story as I was sitting with that kind of the woman who is Mary at this kind of the position. It was a bit relaxing me, and I said it as I would say as a fact, because how things are cooking out are coming, people never understood like they will ever come to have a position of talk about the position of a permanent solution for them to live and understand like they're going to be having a home. And that is what we are ever looking forward to understand. We had a bit of some of the bricks here, and I think all of them have been used. Talk about for the toilet in terms of getting it to the upper section, they had to use some of the bricks to make sure that they're going to be covering all the spots where relevant here. And we have still the this kind of talk about the ballast is still available, very huge and many. And also we have the sand. The sand is moving because of how the work is getting, and the work is progressing, and we have to make sure that this kind of the sand soil is progressing so meticulous at this kind of time. There's no theft that is always coming here, and I understand something that I ever needed it to be, because they understand when you talk about YouTube and theft, they don't go in hand. Most of the people, they understand like the YouTube people will maybe bring you to accountability, or it might be crackatoos of the moment at that kind of the clip of the moment. So they have to understand like they have to be so personal and perennial with how the work is progressing. And I gave the authority. You understand, whenever a borehole is fetched water from, the more it gets clear water, the more it gets clarity of water. And that's why I can say some of the people right now, they're going to be fetching water from this kind of the borehole. And unataka kuchota maji? Oh, so the more there's some of the stuffs that are hinging me here. The stuffs. So you can see the clarity, the water is available, and still the only person who is given the you can hear the sound. Yeah, you can hear the sound. Water is the most, because when we came here, they dug it deeper. Talk about the boys I always use. They dug it deeper to make sure we're gonna be getting the deeper waters onto this kind of the position, and that's why you can see this kind of the surrounding soil. It's not much huger, but it's because of the topography, so it's just slanting to the downer area, and that's why you can see it's balanced here. So it was done so meticulous. What I'm gonna now need them to do is to do the cleanness of the highest order, and the only person who I gave this kind of the mandate to make sure that this kind of the borehole is getting things to come out very clearly is Isabella, because of the child, and also she's ever looking for the water from the river. You can see that little girl, she's going to the river down there, and maybe she has saw me here and she cannot come to fetch some of the water because she has seen me available. That's what is making much of the people to fear the YouTube some of the time. They think about maybe whenever somebody's speaking like the way I'm speaking here, I'm speaking to the air, and it might be like, okay, we are looking like awkward, or we are looking like a little bit, the people are not understanding whatever going to be coming out creatively, but that is not the solution. The solution is to make sure that everybody should see where relevant to handle much of the matters how they arise, and that is my position to make it happen. And Isabel, she's the one who is dealing with this kind of the borehole to make sure that everything is clear and everything is getting on very meticulous. And from that kind of the point, I will say as a fact, she asked me, like, again, to please, can you, because she has given birth and she cannot go and fetch water from the far zone and bring it to her home. And I talked about, okay, occupy the space and use it. And the more it's being used, the more they clear the water and the more it becomes so safer. And you understand, whenever you are fetching water from one's position and it's something that is helping you, I think right now it's the one which is serving the whole, this kind of the village. Nobody ever came to understand it. Like, that borehole will ever come to serve, like this kind of Magabo's position will ever come out to be one of the most helping a borehole at this kind of the village, because everybody thinks about, oh, you know, go to that kind of the bigger home, they're gonna be having this and then this, but that is not the solution. The solution is everybody you can never know, my tomorrow. You will think about this kind of the person is a failure today, but tomorrow you will need the services from the same person. That's why you can see we are achieving the most, the best. And that's what we are just making here to make sure that everything is looking so clear and very creative here. And that's why you can see so many people now, they're going to be fetching for the animals, fetching for the houses, to make sure that everything is tallied and everything is getting on very awesome to this kind of the position. We are just updating what is also taking place at this kind of the area. And also going to be, tomorrow we are going to embark to Magebo's position also, to make sure they're going to be sorting out some of 2-3 things, because I've been a bit busy some 2 days ago, and talk about some maize, getting them inside, you understand, also have some of the things that I always do, and to make sure that nothing gets a fall, because sometimes you can put yourself in one thing, and again you forget yourself a bit. That is not the awesomest thing that we're going to be doing. We have also to remember ourselves and understand, like, also we have things to progress and make it happen. That is my best regards to the people ever supporting Gintu and supporting the project. We are ever getting them clearly getting forward. Some of the people still are asking about, oh, Gintu, can you clarify, like, are this kind of the people, are they going to stay in this kind of the position? How are they going to occupy this kind of the position if this kind of the lady still has that kind of the mentality, which is not stronger mentality to do something corrective or something creative from this kind of the position? I was going to say, you know, what we always do is we do the best and leave the rest to the living God. And God knows, like, we tried to do the best. Even if we could have built like the toilet, you can see how it's now shining from this kind of the place here. Some of the people are passing and thinking about, oh, even me, if I can build such kind of a toilet. You understand, not everybody has a toilet outside here, including, I can say, and I can pinpoint whereby the failure is. I have a person who has been doing the work to me, in terms of the bricklaying. He's called Gashagwa. And some of you have ever seen such kind of a boy who is a man also, has been formulating the bricks to my home since 2024, and recently I have terminated him out because of the characters of too much liquor, because whenever he's just paid, it's just liquor. And again, the woman is coming to talk about, oh, Gintu, please, can you talk to this kind of the gentleman, because liquor is becoming too much. And I talk about, no, I cannot work with such kind of the people. Now the woman is finding like, you have lost it, but I don't go with such kind of the attitude. But what I told him is, whenever you're formulating the bricks, formulate you as 1,000 extra. And whenever you formulate you as extra, I will make sure that I'm going to be posing myself, and I will burn it to you, and you'll ever come with your own tuk-tuk or a tractor and pick that 1,000 bricks and get them to your home. But whenever he formulated the last 1,000, he asked for the money that he formulated the same bricks. And I told him to formulate for himself. But again, I was to pay for it. How can I pay for you and again you come and get? I burned for you. It's a bit a headache. I told him you are just losing the senses. And at that kind of the moment, he's working, but he has never got something straightforward that you can ask about. I have done this or I will do this at that kind of the eclipse. But this kind of the moment, we have to understand what we're going to be doing, at which kind of the perspection, and how we're going to be doing it. To this time around, so many people are congratulating Gintu because we are making it happen, and we are moving from one position to another. And it's not like we are lacking the same, we are maybe behind the same scene, but we are moving. So many people never knew like we will ever reach this kind of the section, because they thought about, oh, maybe it's just a crinkles of the day, or we cannot move from one position to another. It's about now the time for them to talk, continue talking, because the more they talk, the more they hit, the more we get that kind of the repellent way on the moving forward. That is what we ever come out clearly understand it's going to be coming out. So creatively, I'm going to be respecting much of the people ever tuned and also locked in, and whatever they're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing, we ever come out to pinpoint and also handle it the way it's going to be coming. I appreciate much of the effort that we are just doing, because it's not taken into the granted, and this is the position that we ever came and we ever wanted to go, because everybody is looking for talk about can I invest and can I have such kind of a position for even placing my own head. And the other position they are leaving, I think, going to be changing it into another thing, like because they are renting there, it's a house of rent, and we asked and we talked about if I will plaster that house, and we will have to carry forward the monthly installment into another thing. And that's what we ever communicated with the home, that given out that kind of the house for the Jigas family to stay a bit for a while. But what I understand is after that while, after completing this kind of, they're going to be transferring them to this kind of the section and also live permanent. They're going to be now fencing it to make sure they're going to be having the privacy at this kind of the time, and also handling their own matters and issues, whatever going to be coming out at their own arisement. And that will be so necessary for them to make sure, because we are very near to the road, and we have to make sure that we have to understand what's going to be popping out, and the people going to be peeping in. And this kind of time also going to be closing the toilets, because we have not yet removed the holes to be straightforward that people can use it. That's why you can see it's still private and no one can go and access it. So we're going to be closing it with the padlocks, very heavy padlocks, because you understand the mentality of people. They want to talk about, oh, you understand it's going to be a toilet, maybe you're going to be using it the way you know you're needing. That's not the effective matter for it, because I understand the human beings. A human being is a human being, like an African is a human. Because for the short minds, and also something that are going to be prevailing such kind of the mental way, we have to understand like it has to take its kind of the course and lock it very meticulous, and also going to be securing the pathway for them. And that is the best way for us to do and understand what's going to be popping out at this kind of the time. Keep tuned. I'm going to be back to you after updating this kind of a little bit of a small synopsis and also the recap. We have to understand what's going to be coming out next, and I appreciate for the people going to be touched and talk about you have to do something better. We can make it come out clearly. We can make it prosper, because always we have it here. It's talking about moving forward and never backward, never backward. And that's why we are ever getting forward to this kind of the 2026, and we ever to achieve it come out very clearly. I understand so many people are talking about, oh, Gintu, how long will it take, and how will it take, how many years? But what we understand is even Rome was not built in a single day, and that is what is ever driving us to say we have to go direct with how it comes and how it goes. And that is our best way and the best regards that we're going to be talking about. It's another day with another dollar. We make it happen here. Keep tuned. Back to you in a short while. Let's make it happen and coping up with the matters how they arise here. So I have the machine is here, a bit waiting for the strongest time, and it's very evening time as I'm going to be ending this kind of the live one-on-one from this kind of the position. So much phone calls from east, west and south here, and my battery is becoming low, and that will not give us a bit of a headache here. We have to go with how the matter is talking about. I understand as we are making it, may God give you mercy and peace and more life. We change their life permanently. We make it happen. And this is the end. Keep tuned. Be locked. Forward always. Awesome. Let's see each other next moment, next position, and next day with another dollar. Back to you in a short while. Back to the studios in United States.